Hello and welcome to the second part of this Better Backgrounds video tutorial. In the last part we used the quick selection tool and the selection brush to make our selection of the daffodils and the leaves and stalks in the foreground. In this part what we're going to do is just to refine that selection and then use the clone tool just to clone out a few areas of the background. So first of all, we're going to turn our mask here into a selection, and we can do that just by clicking the move tool. So if you just hit V on your keyboard, and then you'll suddenly see the running ants surrounding the daffodils. With that done, we now need to refine that selection. So go up to Select and Refine Edge. And we're going to put a smooth, that just basically smooths the edges of the selection out a little bit, to 3. We're going to feather the edge by 3, and that just helps the smoothness of the transition between two areas of the image. So we take the feathering up to about 3, and we're going to leave contract and expand at 0%. So with that done, we'll just click OK. Now what we want to do is just to invert our selection. So we can do that by going Control Shift or Apple Shift I, or if you go up to your menu, select and just down to inverse. Now what we want to do is just clone out this area of the fence. So we can do that by just selecting the clone tool, then holding down Alt into the shrubbery in the background, just left click once to select our clone area, and then if we release Alt and then left click down a little lower, you'll see a crosshair, and everywhere that you drag it'll clone over wherever the brush is. So we can just start cloning out the areas of the fence there. So very easy to do. You can also see why we've made our selection. We can now drag right over our daffodils and we're not cloning over the areas outside of the selection. So there we've very quickly just eradicated the fence. What I also want to do is just to put a little bit of greenery just underneath the daffodils here. Ooh. Instead of the brown that is there at the moment. Okay, so that's a very quick way to get rid of objects in the background that we don't want. We also need to do a little bit of cloning around the daffodils themselves, and this will help later on with avoiding any haloing effects. So to do this, if we just go Control or Apple Shift I just to invert our selection again, Control or Apple C to copy our daffodils, and Control or Apple V, and we'll just paste them into a new layer. Now what we want to do here is to switch off the visibility of our new daffodil layer, click back onto our background copy layer, go back to our clone tool, and now what we want to do is just to very quickly just click on some of the backgrounds and we'll start to actually clone out those daffodils. So here we're just clicking, alt-clicking to select our clone point just into the shrubbery or greenery, and then we're using that just to take out the edges of our daffodils. And the reason for this is when it comes to blurring the image so that we can really soften the details or the background detail, if you do it straight, then you're going to get some of this yellow blurring over the yellow of our new daffodil layer, and that'll affect haloing that will appear around the image. So by doing this, you're just softening out those edges, stopping the yellow from interfering or going beyond the perimeter of our new daffodil layer, and get a better final effect. Again, as with the selection, the more time you spend on this, the better the result. And there you go, you can see now we've just taken off all of the edges of the daffodil. We haven't removed them completely. We don't need to, because the daffodil layer is actually going to overlay those daffs. So if we switch that back on, but it just gives us a little bit of play when it comes to the actual blurring of that layer. Okay, so that's the cloning tool. In the next part we'll put the final tweaks to the image, and we'll add blur to the background layer, and we'll also adjust the levels and sharpening for the daffodil layer before finishing the image.